With another crazy week in artificial intelligence, this video will highlight around 15 different things that happened last week that were remarkable, so let's get into this. Coming in at number 1 was something that was quite concerning, but not in terms of artificial intelligence development, rather than a data breach. So here on The Independent, it states that over 100,000 ChatGPT user accounts were compromised over last year. It also stated that logs containing user information like IP addresses for being actively traded on the dark web. And if you are familiar with dark web, well, essentially it's a version of the internet that people use for many illegal activities, such as trading compromised accounts and other illegal activities. A recent report published by Singapore-based security firm identified that 100,000 compromised accounts, the credentials of many which have been traded over the last year on illicit dark web. At its peak in early May, nearly 27,000 credentials of compromised ChatGPT accounts were traded on the dark web, and they added that the Asia-Pacific region experienced the highest concentration of ChatGPT credentials offered for sale. Now, it is important to understand that whilst ChatGPT is good for use in your daily life for completing many different personal tasks, you must be aware that sometimes data breaches do occur. And although companies like OpenAI and larger companies like Google and Microsoft largely do strive to keep user credentials safe, sometimes these data breaches occur. And when this thing does happen, it is important to note that your personal data may be out there on the internet. So this is a simple, friendly reminder to just be very careful about information that you're submitting to ChatGPT. And continuing on from the ChatGPT data leak, very similarly, Google actually warned employees about the chatbots, including its own bot, out of privacy concerns. And this is exactly what we were just talking about. So Google, the parent company Alphabet, is warning employees not to enter confidential information into chatbots. So that is a number of growing companies that are really concerned about sensitive internal information being leaked through AI. So they warned engineers last week Thursday to avoid direct use of computer code that chatbots can also produce, because AI can reproduce the data it absorbs during the training, risking a potential leaks from the AI. And this is not the only company that has done this. Recently, Apple has restricted employees from using AI tools like OpenAI's ChatGPT or freeze of confidential information entered into these systems will be leaked or collected. And according to a report from the Wall Street Journal, Apple employees have also been warned against using GitHub's AI programming assistant Copilot. So you have to understand that currently, whilst these AI tools might seem very safe and very easy to use and can help us in every single scenario, there is the elements of risking our personal data. So that is something to be aware of when you're using these online tools. Do you remember Runway Gen 2? Well, Gen 2 was a text-to-video model which was from the company Runway, and that has been the dominant force in the text-to-video model, something that is particularly very hard to do, especially in the AI landscape. Well, last week something changed in the marketplace. Now you can see that this company has a very big competition. And as you can see here, guys, to be honest, this seems like the most realistic text-to-video that we've seen so far. What you're looking at is something called Zero Scope version 2 XL, a watermark-free model scope-based video model capable of generating high-quality video. So this model was trained with the offset noise, and in terms of quality, it looks absolutely incredible. And that is something that also looks great in terms of coherence, and it definitely also does take the cake. I mean, if this model does manage to get fine-tuned in the future and we actually do get things which are quite realistic, I could see this becoming the leading video model. And remember, this will slowly be refined over the coming years, as many technologies are. And you can see here that this is being generated in many different styles. Then we have something that is once again quite concerning, but at the same time quite innovative. So there is this company called Salesforce. You may have heard of them in the past, but it is a marketing company that does a lot of sales and helps a giant number of companies across the United States in terms of their entire sales process. Now, the announcement is that this very large multi-billion-dollar company actually announced something very recently in terms of their own generative pre-trained transformer AI, which they're going to be embedding into their multiple sales process. Now, what they're doing is truly interesting because they're personalizing every campaign and shopping experience with generative artificial intelligence. I'm sure when you use Google or when you're on Snapchat or TikTok, you see a certain advertisement that may be broad in its own generalization. Now, sometimes you click on them because sometimes they relate to you, but What if that advertisement had your name on it? Or what if the advertisement was really specified to you? Now, this is what generative AI is set to do. Not only this is truly interesting and groundbreaking, some people are saying that this is going to be one of those things that is going to lead to a lot of significant job loss. They also introduced something called Einstein GPT, which is actually the world's first generative AI for CRM. The CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management, and it is a set of integrated data-driven software solutions that help manage, track, and store information related to your company's current and potential customers. So what makes this so crazy is that, like you're seeing on a screen right now, Einstein GPT is personalizing these sales processes, and this is definitely something that I'm going to be talking in another video in the future, so stay tuned. So you know the company Midjourney, a company that is focused on text-to-image generation that pretty much have solved the common problems that many text-to-image generators do have. Well, they've announced a recent update including a game-changing feature that will change what we can realistically do with Midjourney. A couple of days ago, they announced version 5.2, and they actually improved aesthetic and allowed for shopping images. They slightly improve coherence and text understanding. They also increase diversity, so when you're generating images, you don't get too many familiar things popping up. And they also introduced something called high variation mode, which makes all variation jobs much more varied. And the new feature, which has taken everyone by the storm, is called zoom out. The zoom out feature is something that we've seen right across the industry, and if you're not sure as to what I'm referencing, just take a look at these clips. So every single time that you're upscaling an image, it is going to have a zoom out button underneath so that you could reframe the same image. Then the next thing we had was the Stability AI launched Stable Diffusion XL 0.9, which they described as a leap forward in AI image generation. So on the 22nd of June, they announced that their most advanced developments in the Stable Diffusion text-to-image suite of models is finally here. So this is a huge upgrade compared to their prior model because this contains a lot more quality compared to the previous versions. And what's also great is that this now added their hyperrealism that we've seen in Midjourney's version 5 and beyond. So they actually do showcase some key examples in which we get to see the difference, and in this simple prompt that, to be honest with you, it does seem quite good. And to be honest with you guys, this is definitely does look like what we've seen in Midjourney's version 5.1 and 5.2 and the versions of 5. So let me know if you're going to be using this over Midjourney. And guys, there's this new big deal thing in this Stable Diffusion which they released, and the big deal was they could finally generate hands, and hands are a very tricky thing for AI to generate because they are particularly confusing, and we've known them in the past, and it took a very long time for this model to be perfected. Because to be honest with you, if I saw this on my feed on Instagram, I would arguably say that there is no way that AI could generate this, guys.